He's watching. I don't know. Maybe the kid needs money. Maybe they're still holding up the will.
And we're going to be telling you how to win in just a couple of minutes. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get that. Good morning, Tex. We're on the nut line.
Good morning, Bobby.
Hey, it's Uncle Vito Masonetti.
Good morning. Good morning. It's Colonel Masonetti, sir.
Oh, since you're south of the Mason Sheehan, I
Right.
mean the Mason-Dixon line.
Yes, Colonel Masonetti here. I've been tracking down Elvis, and we're just about there. I can't wait for you to get down here and get a load of everything. It's great.
Okay, well, we know it's in good hands, Uncle Vito. We feel good about that. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, so long, boys.
Boy, it sounds like they're really working him down there, doesn't it?
Yes, so Vito's got his nose right to the grindstone this time.
Ah, that Bobby. What he doesn't know doesn't hurt him. We got to have a little fun on this trip.
Strictly high class, there'll be canola dancers shaking their grass. So step right up and put your money down.
I don't know. Maybe 40s is too much out. Here, how would you like this? Huh? Don't worry about it. It's untouched by human lips.
Hurry, hurry, step this way. Hurry, hurry, step this way. That's all, folks. If you want to see the rest of the show, step up and buy a ticket.
Well, I guess that's it. We got to get to the airport. That's right. We got a flight to catch. Right. Dr. John Cooper is next. Mason and Sheehan. We're going to Graceland.
It's almost time to pick up Bobby at the airport. Maybe there's time for one more stop. Hey, look what we got here. Souvenirs of Elvis. A classy-looking joint, too. Maybe I can pick up that velvet Elvis that the twit wanted. Boy, look at the great stuff they got here in the gift shop. I don't know what to choose. Maybe you could help me. What's some of the better items? Can you point out a few here to me?
Yes, we have a TCB necklace, similar to the one that Elvis wore.
Elvis used to wear one kind of like
Yes,
this.
kind of like this.
What else?
Look, we have a jacket.
I don't know if that fit me.
Oh, sure.
That would fit me?
Yes, that would fit you.
All right. What else we got, though? I'm a little concerned about that.
About a scarf.
A scarf.
A scarf. It even has a signature of it.
I think so. I think the red one would
Want
be
the
nice.
red one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, take care of your red one. There you go.
Right.
Keep the change.
Keep the change. Thank you.
Boy, what a bunch of junk. I'm sure the king was proud. I better go get Bobby and Bill. There they Hey, good day, boys.
Good to see you.
Glad to see you here.
See you. Great
Love to
flight
welcome you all here.
Thank you, Colonel Vito Masonetti.
Come on, we're ready for you. We got a car, got a nice room.
Oh, let's get over to
Anything else you want.
Uncle Vito, I thought you said you were going to have dancing girls wait.
There are. Wait till we get back to the hotel room. I can't fit them in a car.
Oh,
Take it easy, Bobby. Remember, you got the radio show at 5 a.m.
Fix 106 Mason and Sheehan. We're broadcasting live from Memphis. Matter of fact, right now, we're at Elvis's favorite late-night place for hamburgers. Talking about the Gridiron Restaurant. And speaking of food, this is a natural chance to kind of segue into our next guest. Want to welcome Mary Jenkins. Mary is the author of the new book, Memories Beyond the Graceland Gate. She was Elvis's cook for years and years. Now, Mary, let me see if I've got this straight. Elvis gave you a house?
Yes, he did. A house and a car, a new car, for my Christmas present in '74.
That must have been quite a surprise.
It was a surprise.
Quite a
I'm telling you, I
Christmas
never had a surprise like that before and since.
Mary, you still living in the house?
Yes, I am.
Yeah? How was the food at Graceland? What did they have you preparing there? Was it fancy food?
Not real fancy. Lots of people think that it would have been real fancy food, but he likes just plain food.
But lots of it.
Lots of it.
You saw his waistline go up and down, huh?
Yeah.
My favorite is the peanut butter
Banana.
and nanner sandwich. Now, there was a trick to making this sandwich, wasn't there?
I toasted the bread first, and then spreaded my peanut butter and banana, sliced my bananas and put on. put it together and put it back in the skillet in the butter.
Butter, no margarine around
No
Graceland.
margarine, pure butter. And just kept turning it, kept turning from side to side, from side to side, until it got good and heated all the way through, and that butter got soaked in it. Then I've taken it out and put it on the plate and cut it, fixed it real pretty, and taken it back in there. He said, that's what I want, that's right.
Barry, with all the sandwiches you made, did you ever eat one?
I taste one. It tastes all right, but I didn't much care for them, you know.
You've got some other recipes that you think
Yeah, no better than that.
The book is called Memories Beyond the Graceland Gates. Our guest, Mary Jenkins. Mary, thanks for stopping by. Can we buy you an Elvis burger here at the Gridiron? You know, just the way he likes his burgers.
Well, I think I will take a burger before I leave. Then I can go home and get in the bed.
Speaking of the king, we got somebody who knew him well. Let's get up close, personal. We got an interview with Billy Stanley. Hey, this is Billy Stanley. Billy is Elvis's brother. He's got a book out right now. It's called Elvis, My Brother. Let's explain how this worked. Your mom.
Yeah, she married Vernon Presley on July 3rd, 1960.
And then you guys moved to Graceland.
Right.
7 years old.
Right.
You move into Graceland.
Yeah.
And you were,
Alice in Wonderland.
yeah, from the sound of everything in the book, it was. You were with Elvis right till
Till the end.
till the end.
Yeah.
We are at the Elvis Museum in.
Jimmy's Elvis.
That's right,
Yeah.
in Nashville. And the headboard of the bed that we're sitting on, the bed, all the furniture, came from Elvis's place out in...
Yeah, Beverly Hills.
How does it look? Does it look right?
Yeah. Everything looks great.
Bring back some memories for you?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I'll bet this bed, if it could talk.
If you could talk, oh, yeah. What
Let's
a
see.
movie.
Yeah, let's see. There was Anne Margaret. Her name comes up occasionally.
Well, every one but one, you know, I mean, that's what was said.
Yeah. How many movies did Elvis make? And
33 movies.
And every female lead except...
Except one.
You want to name a name on this one? We're going to keep us all guessing about this one,
really.
Billy. Among your duties, when you finally grew up to a point where you were working for Elvis, you were in charge of getting his wardrobe, to going over to Lansky's and...
Yeah, headed down there.
And
Go down there and buy some clothes for him, and he just, I knew the taste he was into at that time when I was going down there was the long overcoats and the big brim hats and stuff. Kind of like Shaft with a cigar. Yeah.
Pimped right out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
More
really
of a
went,
gangster, though.
yeah, went to extremes with that. What instructions did you have as you head into Lansky's? The guy fitted him for his first suit. They knew him about
sort of knew what Elvis wanted.
Yeah, I would just go in there and say, they'd know who I was, and I'd just say, I'm here for Elvis, and they'd start showing me all this stuff, and I'd just take out, you know, pick out the best colors that he liked.
Now this is a must.
Well, this is Elvis's favorite place. This is where he always came.
A Memphis landmark. Uncle Vito, this is Lansky's on Beale Street.
Yeah, Mr. Lansky's in.
Yeah, let's hear what...
Swarm the world. I mean, pink and black, it started here. Did it really? Let's see if we can find the owner. This is, look at some of this stuff. You simply can't buy stuff like this around Capitol Land. This is amazing. Let's see what a place. Uncle Vito, come on with us. Mr. Lansky, let me see if I get this right. Elvis bought his first suit here.
Right.
And his last suit came from here also.
Right.
Now, how old was he when he came in here looking for
He was in school, 16 years old, 17 years old when he first started out.
And you gave him the first suit. It was measured right here?
Exactly. Right in this mirror, this very mirror right here.
And his last suit, that's the one he was buried in.
Exactly. We put him away.
Did those measurements change a little over the
Quite a
years?
bit. You better believe it.
Tell me the truth. Who is bigger, Elvis or my Uncle Vito here?
Yonko.
You're sure it is?
Hey, why not? I'm looking
See, if
at
you
it.
had one of his old suits, maybe I could have...
No.
Now, I understand. I understand this is where Elvis's fashion tastes really took root. The pink and black came out of this store, is that?
Exactly right. In the heydays when pink and black was very, very big, we In fact, we brought it in and everybody saw Elvis with it on, and that's what they want, Pink and Black. Pink and Black took off, and everybody wanted it. Everybody wanted to dress like Elvis.
The big collars, they came
The
from...
roll collar, the big puff sleeves, and inverted pleats, black stripes and things like that.
Well, now back in the 50s, though, wasn't there an article from one of the fashion institutes saying that Elvis was like the worst dressed in America?
Exactly right.
And you came to his defense?
Exactly right. They didn't understand fashion in that time. That was really fashion. We went all over the country looking for different things for Elvis. Elvis was special. He wanted something different. We went out when we went shopping. We knew what Elvis was. We knew what we wanted to put on Elvis. And we did. We made him real sharp. At that time, it was the fashion plate.
I understand you've got an automobile, a German Messerschmitt automobile. Is that right? That Elvis, he traded you?
Well, Elvis came up one day and had it parked out in front. He said, Bernard, come on to show you something. I walked out front and he looked. I said, hey, Elvis, man, that's fantastic. I said, when you get tired of it, holler at it. I want it. Wasn't 30 days, I had it. He called me and said, Bernard, come get it. It was mine.
It was yours?
He just gave it to me.
Just an outright gift.
Exactly.
He was that kind of guy.
A dynamite guy. Give you anything he had. He was nice. Very nice.
Tell us about a shopping spree that he did.
Unreal. Come in here, buys a lot of merchandise. Anybody in here, you know, shopping, just looking, seeing Elvis. You want one? I'll take one. Give him one. You know, anything. He dressed everybody in the store.
No kid.
Exactly.
You got fond memories then of the day.
Oh, unreal.
Yeah.
Many memories. Many of them, I'll tell you.
What was that first suit like?
It was a black striped suit with a velvet collar on it, with a black pair of pants, with a roll collar. It's really sharp.
When he
Really
was being fitted for Sullivan, was he nervous?
Oh, well, yeah. With his, you know, had his hand like this, you know, really nervous. He'd walk up and down, pace the floor. Say, hey, man, take it easy. Nothing to it. Hey.
Now, this was just before he made his first appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Right.
He's in here getting fitted.
We put him on, put his first golden-made coat on him. This coat right here. On there.
Gold Gourmet, the first time out it came from here.
From here, exactly.
Let's talk fashions 1990. What's hot
Hey,
this year?
who knows? Who knows? It's, different things,
But
things.
the trend's going to come from here.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Dress Bobby. How would he look in what
Oh,
else?
I could get him clean. I'd have him clean as Ajax. You'd be shy. Real
Well,
shy.
maybe we should do that.
Hey, the Gold-made jacket. I've been telling you for years.
Hey, something different.
That's right.
Matter of fact, why
Spruce
don't
you up.
we give something to everybody? I'll buy.
It sounds fantastic, Uncle Vito. I thank you.
No problem.
Hey, none but heart.
My pleasure.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure.
When we return, Mason and Sheehan and a behind-the-scenes tour of the Graceland Mansion. And now, back to Mason and Sheehan, going to Graceland.
All right, here's the deal. I want to get right to the bottom of this Elvis thing.
Oh, yeah.
Bill and I are going to go over to Graceland, and Uncle Vito, I want you to head down to Tupelo, Mississippi.
Tupelo, Mississippi.
Well, yeah, that's where he was born, Uncle
Oh,
Vito. Here,
all
It's
right.
all right here.
I'm on my way.
Okay,
Trust me.
Yeah. Oh, and Vito, while you're down there, will you pick up a couple of peanut butter and nanner sandwiches for us?
On the road again.
like Elvis's playroom.
Yeah, what is this room officially called?
This is the TV room.
The
You
TV.
got the idea for 3 TV sets in a row from hearing about Lyndon Johnson liking to watch 3 network news programs all at once.
Sure, yeah.
Elvis would watch 3 football games all at the same time.
Were any of the sets in this room among those that were supposedly lost? If Elvis was a little upset with the show, we might take some...
We don't. You're asking about when he shot Robert Goulet off the screen. We don't know which one it was.
I didn't mention Robert Goulet,
Well,
but...
there were a lot of TVs and a lot of programs that upset him, so we don't know which one.
You know, here's a TV.
This is one of the TV sets that he shot out. This was up in his bedroom, and I can't remember if it wouldn't stop rolling or if that was the one Robert Goulet was on, and Elvis decided, well, put this horse out of its misery.
Elvis wasn't much of a fan of Robert Goulet.
No, all technique and no heart.
This room's very 1970s. You know, this room was Elvis had this room done this way in 1974, and at the time you could have torn this off the cover of the House Beautiful, but you know, it's a little outdated now. But
the lightning bolt over there, that's the TCB logo, right? The taking care of business.
Taking care of business in a flash, sort of his signature throughout the 70s.
Okay.
It's fun.
And we've got a bar over here, but I thought Elvis wasn't much of a drinker.
He wasn't.
I'm an alcoholic.
And then there was alcohol for those who did drink it. Graceland was always full of people. A refrigerator and crushed ice.
Elvis didn't have a prohibition on alcohol in the house.
I'm an alcoholic.
They tell us, though, he didn't want anybody drinking beer in the house. He didn't like the smell of it. But there's the production room back here behind this panel. And show the home movies on the screen over there.
Right.
So it's everything you need. Happy hours at 4. You're a little early.
You wouldn't have lasted a second.
Well,
How about this?
Is the pool room.
Right.
One of Elvis's favorites.
Yeah, a little billiards.
Play a little 8-ball, a little rotation. That's what he liked to
Was
play.
that his game?
Yeah.
Little 8-ball. Was any good?
Yeah, he was pretty good. You know, Elvis was pretty good at just about anything he tried. He always liked to be an expert and know everything about it.
Interesting material on the walls and ceiling.
Yeah, a few hundred yards of it. This room was done in '74 with a decorator. Kind of a turn of the century feel.
I was about to ask, obviously with Elvis's taste and approval, but they had decorators come in to do some of these rooms.
Elvis hired a decorator in '74 to do this. We had a lot of fun down here. This pool table, even though this room was decorated this way in '74, the pool table goes all the way back to '57 when he first moved into Graceland. And, you know, just to show you how we don't change anything, you know, this is where somebody lived, somebody's life took place here. The pool table's kind of beat up because it was used. There's a tear down there in the corner we don't touch because, you know, one of Elvis's friends did that one night.
Do you know who tore the felt?
No, we haven't found anybody to own up to it. But,
They've preserved things at Graceland. Have you been there since Elvis's death?
I went back the first time last year. Been the first time I'd been there in 9 years, and it was a very emotional experience for me. I mean, all the good memories came back as soon as we pulled through the gates. I mean, it was like I could see us up there playing on snowmobiles, riding golf carts, playing football, shooting guns.
Have they preserved it the way it was when you lived there?
Yeah, I think they do a real good job on it.
That was a pretty strange household. The decor is...
Well, every room is different, you know?
The jungle room now.
Yeah. I mean, he was looking for that effect. He didn't want the house to look the same in every room because it'd get awful boring that way. I mean, if you want to set your mood for a different, you know, just walk into a different room. It was, okay. Now I'm in the jungle. Then you go downstairs and you got all those colors on the where they shoot pool. It was pretty wild.
Who put the tear in the felt on the pool table, do you recall?
Yeah, I think it was Lisa Marie. We was trying to teach her how to shoot pool, and she scratched.
The TV cameras, Todd, are they something that you put in for security purposes? These are the original?
these are Elvis's original TV.
Yeah.
He liked to keep tabs on the whole house.
Yeah, he did because, you know, a lot of times he would be sleeping during the day, being an entertainer, and Graceland was full of people, employees, family, entourage, and he'd kind of check out who was in the house before he came downstairs. If there was somebody he didn't want to deal with at the moment, he could hang out upstairs till they left. Plus, it was just a toy.
He had the monitors in his bedroom.
Yeah, there was a monitor in his bedroom and in the
But as you
kitchen.
said, Elvis really liked gadgets.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he was the first one in town to have a big screen color TV, the first one to have a home VCR.
Might there be a little voyeurism involved in this?
No, I think it was just sheer practicality, keeping tabs on what was going on.
That's the story, and he's sticking to it.
That is the story.
Now, noticed those security cameras were just everywhere around there. And I asked the folks if those cameras were indeed original stuff from Elvis, or whether they were there to protect the exhibit. And they said, no, those were Elvis.
Put up,
Another toy.
Yeah.
And
Well, he liked sitting there watching it. He'd be sitting in his room, and he'd like to know who's around the house or who's coming up to the house and stuff like that, you know.
there wasn't any voyeurism involved.
No. I mean, there wasn't mirrors or anything like that, you know. I mean, that's the big thing that I think came out in one of the Bodyguards book. But like I said, that's all those orgies and stuff started after Elvis went to bed. He never was into that.
Well, he wasn't upstairs watching.
No, I mean, there wasn't any cameras in the actual bedrooms anyway. There was just in, like, the pool room, the kitchen.
You had cameras out at the gate watching the bedroom. I love the story about Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
At the gates. You were a witness to that. Now, some people say it didn't really happen. You saw
No, it wasn't overblown. I mean, the guy just, you know, he wanted to get up to see Elvis, and he must have had a little bit too much to drink, and he decided to drive his car through the gates, and he didn't go through the gates. So he found out the police was coming, so he backed his car up and took off down the highway. Still cussing.
Coming up, our tour of the mansion continues when Mason and Sheehan Going to Graceland returns in a moment. Back to Mason and Sheehan Going to Graceland.
Tupelo Hardware. This is where they say Elvis got his first guitar. Here we are in the hardware store in Tupelo Hardware. Good name for it since it is in Tupelo. And you're the owner?
Yes.
George Booth?
Bill Booth.
Bill Booth.
Yeah.
Where'd I get George from?
Well, that's my father.
That's your father?
Yeah.
Well, I knew I got it from somewhere.
And my son's named George, too.
So, George, this is the place where Elvis got his first guitar.
Yes, that's
And I
correct.
understand there's quite a story behind it, and I understand you know the story.
Well, I was not here at the time, but it was related to me by Mr. Bobo, who was here, and gave me firsthand knowledge of it, and I'd be glad to tell you.
Well, I'm sure we'd all like to hear it.
Well, the story is that Elvis had been coming in here numerous times to pick out a present that he wanted, that his parents had promised him something. And so what it was a 22 rifle, and that was what he had intentions on having, and he showed it to his mother, and his mother asked Mr. Bobo about it, and she said, is this a dangerous thing for this boy to have? And he said, yes, it is. And so Elvis's mother said, well, son, you cannot have this. Well, his spirits just fell, and he went into a tantrum,
Yeah,
and he cried, and he put on a show of disappointment and cried and put on a tantrum.
Elvis cried?
Oh, yes. And so she said, now, if you don't stop this crying and behave, you're going to go home. We're going to go home, and you're going to really catch it when you get home, and it's not going to be a present. And furthermore, you're not going to get anything. So Mr. Bobo at that time said, let me show him a guitar over here. So they came over here right in front of this showcase and picked out a guitar, which at that time cost $13.75. And he said no, he didn't want that.
He didn't want the guitar.
No, he didn't want that. But she said, now, you're going to get nothing if you don't take this. Plus, you're going to get a spanking when you get home. So she said, if you just take it and take it home and try to learn how to play it, said you might even be famous someday.
Truer words were never spoken,
That's
right?
correct. So we know what was the outcome of that. He did take the guitar, and you and I and the world knows what happened.
That's right.
He was quite a fine man, a young man, and we're proud that he came in here and bought his guitar.
Well,
And Mr. Danny Boyd here was in school with Elvis, and Danny, just tell us something about maybe the time you saw Elvis was around him.
Well, I started first grade with Elvis, of course. He was 2 grades ahead of me, and we have chapel back then in East Tupelo go every Wednesday. And about once or twice a month, he'd come up and he'd always say, Shep. Old Shep was the only thing
Every time.
every time.
And you never got tired of it.
Never got tired. But it seemed like from time to time it improved, you know, from the time he was playing before. And of course, he moved to Memphis right after I started first grade, and it was quite a few years before I seen him again.
I understand the little girls would all cry when you'd sing that.
Oh, yeah.
They would all cry.
But Danny didn't.
No.
He didn't.
He said that.
He didn't cry.
Really, at this time, you know, he was just an ordinary regular kid, you know.
That's right.
Nothing special, so...
Okay, here's a place for you. This is the school Elvis went to. They say he used to sing Old Shep to the girls and make them cry in here. I can almost hear him. Old Shep had a home where the good doggies go. Oh, man, I think Old Shep went one too many times. Oh. Gee.
Is this wild or what?
Yeah. My word. This is a little more of what I had expected
Well,
to see.
this room gets a lot of press attention. This is one you've probably heard about. We call this one the Jungle Room. It was a typical family room for a lot of years. But in, I think, probably about 1973 or 4, Elvis saw all of this furniture at a store here in Memphis. It was kind of a fad around here at the time. And it reminded him of Hawaii, which was one reason he liked it. And he just bought a room full of it and brought it home. But, you know, it's...
That's a tree trunk.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, a lot of people make fun of it, and they think, oh, well, he had weird taste. But really, this isn't about his taste so much as his sense of humor and fun. I mean, this was a fad, and he was having a good time. And it's a neat room. It's definitely a man's room. It's kind of macho.
The monkeys over there. He kept a monkey on premises.
Back in the 60s, he had some monkeys among the menagerie at Graceland and had a chimpanzee named Scatter, who was a real womanizer flirt.
Yeah, I've heard Scatter kind of like the ladies that came around. The ladies might not be that keen on Scatter.
That's true, and he gave the maids a real, not Elvis, Scatter, the chimpanzee gave the maids a real hard time around here.
So Michael Jackson wasn't the first.
No, he wasn't. This is a fun room. You know, Elvis recorded a couple of albums in here.
Oh, really?
In fact, 2 of his last albums were recorded right here. They'd bring the equipment and park in the backyard and run the wires and cables in, and they would set up instruments and jam all night.
How long have you been with Graceland?
5 years.
5 years. You ever just kind of sit down on the couch or stretch out, put your feet up?
Yeah.
Go for it. Not if nobody sees it, don't worry about it. And if they say anything, tell them that you said it was on.
That wouldn't make any difference.
No, that wouldn't make any difference.
Are you always assigned to the same room?
And that is around every hour or so.
Okay. What's your favorite room?
As a room or to tour guide in?
Yeah, to tour guide in. Where are you most comfortable? In the
Dining room, probably.
In the dining room.
She likes all the china and crystal and all that stuff.
All right, listen, the next group isn't coming through for a couple minutes. Stretch out, relax. We won't say anything.
She won't, thanks. It's nice out here. They used to have fireworks fights out here in the backyard. They nearly set the house on fire a few times. Yeah. Yeah. We've sort of recreated. There was this brief period in the 60s when Elvis and the guys would get out here in the backyard and set up a table with their guns and their ammo, and they would set up targets in here
They'd fire
and shoot through the door. And this was all predicated on the assumption that all of the guys were a good enough aim to at least get the bullet through the door. I mean, we're in a residential area, so they had to have some way to protect the neighborhood.
That,
so they
that kind of brings us around to another area. All these guys were traveling armed, from what I read. All these guys were carrying guns. Now, obviously, there were security concerns, but...
Security concerns, yeah. And
from the time you became a part of the entourage, you were expected to carry a weapon, from what I can gather.
Well, a lot of that's been really overdone. It's like every facet of Elvis's life, it's been highly over-sensationalized. Now, this what we're talking about now is just for fun.
Fun.
Yeah,
sure.
A lot of fun.
All the time I sit home.
Yeah, it was interesting. One day when they were doing this, one of the neighbors, I mean, we're in a residential area, one of the neighbors called the cops. And the police came out here to see what all of the commotion was because of all of the shooting. And they got out here, and as we understand it, the cop, you know, took his hat off and took a turn with Elvis's gun.
Hey, Billy guns were a big part of Elvis's life, and for that matter, your life.
Yeah.
I had a pistol range there at Graceland, so to speak, huh?
Yeah, it was kind of an informal. The office space behind Graceland there's a wall that extends out from it, and that's what we'd use. You know, we tore it up pretty much. I mean, especially when you come out with a Thompson submachine gun. I mean,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
What the hell are you guys doing? You got to have special permits for Thompson submachine.
Not Elvis. You got to remember, man, that's the king of rock and roll we're talking about here.
Did
certain perks go with that, you know?
Did Elvis feel he was above the law?
No, not at all. They would come up there sometimes after we'd shot the guns and stuff, and Elvis would tell them what was going on. They'd just, like, tell him, hey, you know, you don't need to be doing that. And he said, okay, well, we won't. We started visiting the Sheriff's Department shooting range after that, but every once in a while we'd get in the mood and go out in the backyard and shoot something up. You know, I mean, the worst wars we ever had was the firecracker wars. I mean,
you guys were known for
spending something like $10,000 on just Roman candles and rockets, and it looked like Vietnam in the backyard. We'd choose up a blue team and a red team. We did on fire one night. So, I mean, that was fun, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Good, clean fun.
That's normal. See, I'm just now...
pick up some fireworks on the way back.
Yeah, try it when you get home. Stand in the backyard and shoot at each other.
We got a big suite in our hotel.
Yeah, do it there. Why not? We did it. Shoot them inside Graceland.
Yeah, there was kind of a special relationship between Elvis and the Memphis Police Department.
Right, yeah. Police departments all across the country, because Elvis spent almost all of his adult life working with police and security people because of his concerts and his travels. And they really liked him. He knew how to talk their language, and he's got badges from all over the country and all over the world.
Next, we'll take a look at the early years of the king of rock and roll as Mason and Sheehan stroll through the Graceland Trophy. Mason and Sheehan going to Graceland.
This part we're going into now is Elvis's trophy building. This is where all of the gold records and awards and costumes, all of his personal mementos and keepsakes are. It used to be a big patio that he built when he first moved in 1957. And in the 60s, he closed the patio in to house a big slot car track. You remember those were all the rage in the 60s. Did you have one?
I didn't, but I sure remember.
Yeah, this is great out here. Like I told you a while ago, this is Elvis's trophy building. We've redone the exhibit quite a bit because we have so many more people than he planned on seeing it. But we sort of lay out his whole life and career. This first section starts with his childhood and growing. We've got all kinds of pictures, and there are quotes about Elvis, quotes by Elvis, all kinds of components to tell the story. His first gold single over here, Heartbreak Hotel, and his first gold album. There's 5 gold singles for Don't Be Cruel. That gold 5 times so fast, they gave him 5 gold records all at once. It's still the hottest single of the rock era on the Billboard pop chart. Number 1, they just came out with a list of the top 3,000 singles on Billboard pop chart history. Don't Be Cruel, with the flip side of Pound Dog, is still number 1. There's some samples of the old merchandise from the 50s, you know. I mean, Elvis and the Colonel were real pioneers in the area of celebrity merchandising. There was nothing like that before Elvis. In the first 6 months, Elvis merchandise in the 50s, in the first 6 months that it was available, grossed something like $22 million, and that was in 1956. We get pictures from his first TV appearances, you know, the Dorsey Brothers stage show, and Ed Sullivan, Steve Allen, Milton Berle.
These are the Dorseys up top.
Right.
With Elvis. Uncle Milty.
Yeah.
He's cutting a pretty mean run there.
And then we've got posters and memorabilia from his first 4 films, which he did in the 50s. Bought Graceland in 1957. There he is with a brand new, freshly installed gate.
Band music gigs. There's the Jordanaires.
Yeah, we're good friends with the Jordanaires. We see them every now and then. Then over here, a poster from his 4th film, 1958, King Creole, his most critically acclaimed film. It was after that that he was inducted into the Army. We've got some of his Army stuff and photographs from the 2 years he was in service.
His lucrative career as rock and roll king interrupted for a while, Elvis Presley begins his military service at Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. Just another GI to become acquainted with those interminable Army lineups. Uncle Sam doesn't play favorites, and those celebrated sideburns, which were his trademark, are sacrificed to military uniformity. Locks his fans would love to touch, shorn and scattered on the barber's floor. With the haircut goes $78 a month. He made a cool $1 million last year.
Were these his fatigues?
Yes. That's the thing. You go through Graceland, it's all the real thing. We show you the real stuff. Over here, we've got a couple of Elvis's favorite guitars. This is a 56 Gibson J200. He used it in lots and lots of movies throughout the 60s. And then this is a 60 Gibson that he used quite a bit.
With the inlay and the guitar.
Yeah, these were 2 special favorites of his. He used them as late as the 70s on stage. And that portrait there, it's one of the early publicity shots turned into a portrait. It was one of his grandmother's favorites. In fact, she used to hang it in her bedroom here at Graceland. She lived here, so did his parents, and various relatives and friends.
Elvis and Pat Boone on the cover of
Yeah, we displayed that old magazine. Pat Boone was through here not too long ago. He got a kick out of seeing it. It's what we call the Hall of Gold, for obvious reasons.
Yes,
80-foot hallway lined with gold and platinum albums and singles. And all kinds of industry awards, his Grammy nominations. Of course, the Grammys didn't recognize rock and roll until about noon yesterday. But the 3 Grammys he won were for gospel music.
Really? They're all for gospel?
And he got their Lifetime Achievement Award when he was 36 years old.
Everything's here except the Oscar.
Yeah.
Jailhouse Rock was the very first rock and roll record that Bobby ever had. And so I'd say that's quite a bit of influence on my life. Let's talk about what all these gold and platinum records translate to as far as sales. How many records did Elvis sell in his career?
The last number we got from RCA, Elvis has sold in excess of 1 billion records worldwide. That's with a B, not million. Billion records. And we did some measuring, some conservative figuring, and this was back in a time when singles sold more than albums, so this is really conservative. If you laid all of those 1 billion records end to end at the equator, they would wrap around the earth more than twice. Believe it or not.
McDonald's had better watch themselves. Elvis is closing off.
And this section is devoted to the movie years of the 60s.
These guitars he didn't necessarily play. I see bass over here.
Yeah, they're his. They're all his. In fact, most of these were used in movies in the 60s. And he was using them during that time.
But they were used for movies rather than concerts, is that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
And for his own personal use. I mean, these were his personal guitars he used at home.
Elvis used on the stage door once again. He did away with the cakes and also the heavy jewels and stuff.
Look at these robes. Mike Tyson eats your heart out. What was the problem with those movie years? The guy had some talent as an actor, and yet he was always put in the worst possible vehicles.
Well, yeah, that's the Colonel's doing. The Colonel signed him up right after he came out of the service to a 7-year contract with 3 movies a year. And so Elvis being the loyal person he was, got stuck with doing those movies. I mean, the first few he kind of liked, Flaming Star and G.I. Blues. I think that was about the only 2 I can remember him making favorable comments on, except for Chiro, which he tried as a dramatic actor. But the Colonel, for some reason, instead of Elvis pulling a gun and shooting somebody, would always show Elvis giving a guy a dirty look or something in the movie. So
we speculated that if Elvis were alive today, he'd want to be starring in these Chuck Norris action vehicles, you know, the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Something like that, yeah. Or he would have been a very dramatic actor or a director, because he had the ability to bring out the best in everybody.
That guitar over there, there's a story that goes with that.
Yeah, this is the one that he played in the '68 Singer Special.
That was the big comeback special.
Yeah, they call it the comeback. For me, he never went anywhere, so he was always there, but the movie years kind of slowed him down as for live performances. He never did any.
These two outfits are from, I guess, one of the very best performances Elvis, well, one of the best performances anybody ever gave, his 1968 TV special.
Yeah.
The burgundy coat is from the gospel portion, and the black leather is from most of the show.
Look at that leather.
Yeah, this was at the end of the movie years and just before he started touring again and resuming his live performing after having been off the live stage for too many years.
It was a great show, though.
It really was.
I remember.
He looked great. He sounded great. The reviews were incredible. Yeah, everybody who likes Elvis has their own favorite era. This is my favorite Elvis right here. He was polished and mature and the best of everything he'd ever been.
All right, my opinion, his greatest years were those early rock and roll years.
Well, you're a lot older than I am.
Why was Elvis a Las Vegas player? I mean, that's not really what you think of.
Well, he was in Vegas a couple of months out of the year, but he was out on the road doing concerts, selling out 3 shows at Madison Square Garden in a matter of a few hours. He was out there among the people. But I tell you one reason for being in Vegas, he was making a lot of money.
Bright light city, gonna set my soul on fire. Got a whole lot of money that's ready to burn, so get those stakes up higher. There's 1,000 pretty women waiting out there. They're all living the devil may care, and I am just a devil with love. Viva Las Vegas! Viva, viva Las Vegas!
Who did you find fascinating coming in and out of...
Well, it wouldn't be in and out of Graceland. It'd be around Vegas.
Around Vegas?
Yeah, that's where he would be there for 30 days, and the entertainers would fly there to see him. I think Ann Margaret I was impressed with meeting her.
Elvis.
Muhammad Ali.
Well, no, wait a minute. Let's back up. Elvis was impressed a little, too. There were a couple of occasions where you had to apparently keep...
Run interference.
Yeah, Ann's husband, Roger Smith.
Yeah.
Occupied, so to speak?
Yeah, well, I think he was checking on the stage for, Ann was going to be opening up after Elvis and stuff, so... The only thing I know was they got together and talked for a few hours.
Just talked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I heard.
That's all you...
Yeah.
Gonna stick with that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, getting back to some of the other visitors...
Okay, well, there was such a big variety. I mean, even Linda Lovelace came backstage one time. I mean, everybody had in their mind, well, could she really do that or not,
Oh, I find that tough to swallow.
I think we all did. Let's see, there was Muhammad Ali, of course, and Joe Frazier, and Jim Brown, and let's see, Rod Steiger, Gregory Peck, John Wayne.
They were heavy, the Beatles,
Yeah, George Harrison, I met him. And he even made a comment that he said, yeah, when I met Elvis in '64, he told us about you guys, that, you was really into our music. Oh, wow, the cow really remembered something like that. Huh. So I was...
See, Elvis Presley, to me, it's his presence, I think. I don't think anyone in this business has had as much presence as Elvis. I don't think anyone's had as strong a presence. I think there have been entertainers. I think Michael Jackson's the only entertainer who's ever been more famous than him. But I think Elvis has more presence. Like when Elvis walked in the room, everybody just looked at Elvis. When he's on the screen, you looked at Elvis. You just had this thing about him. And he was going through all this stuff with drugs and all this craziness. But on screen and on stage, he always looked like he was in control. And that's amazing because there was this wall going on inside this guy. And I'm just fascinated with it.
Do you see similarities in Elvis and Eddie Murphy?
None whatsoever.
Really?
Well, to start off, Elvis is very white. And I'm very black. Elvis is from Memphis, and I've never been to Memphis. Had I gone back then, they probably would have... So I don't see similarities. I just admire his presence,
The Presley car collection, a private airplane, and his final resting place when Mason and Sheehan Goin to Graceland returns.